It kind of reminds me of high school a little bit. It's like you have like the goths, and then you have like the kid core, which is like teddy bears and rainbows and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then like cottage core. I don't know if you know what that is, like prairie dresses and like picnic type.
Get into it, get into it.
But for some of us, like we've had some blessings, and I think people kind of forget to talk about like some of the good things that have kind of come out of this situation, which I know sounds a little bit like almost maybe morbid, but like there are some good things that have happened.
COVID saved my school semester. Like I graduated with honors because of COVID. Like it sadly it is because like it was online, but like I deal with I have mental health, so struggling with anxiety, also burnout because I did the fall then winter then spring then summer, so I was in school all year round. Like I was just trying to get out early. I know people that saying the same thing about school. COVID probably saved a couple people's semesters. What's the Depop culture like? And just tell us a little bit about it. I was wondering. I was always interested to know like what goes on in the Depop inner circles. You. If everybody doesn't know, you have 5-star ratings. You have 1,000 plus reviews. You have 36K followers, and you sold 2,050 items. So
yeah, and actually probably more than that because there's a certain way that Depop tracks like how much you've sold. But we're not even gonna get into all that. Like I'm not here to brag, but just like I have sold quite a lot, like through Depop and through some other online platforms and just through my Instagram. But yes, Depop is a very like niche kind of market. So yeah, the culture is very young. Vintage is like what's very popular, like some hype beast type stuff. And I feel like there's kind of like an interesting like intertwining with like TikTok, now that like TikTok is a big thing, like Depop and like TikTok is like this whole like kind of like intertwined social thing. But yeah, it's very very interesting. I started selling on a completely different platform. I started selling on Poshmark, which is probably more of my age group plus. So it's like mid 20s to like I would say like early 40s. So it's I came from a completely different background, and I really found myself with Depop. Actually, I felt like I could resonate more with like what was going on there and like the style, and it really helped me kind of figure out like where I wanted to take my business, and it's like really helped me quite a bit. But yeah, the culture, there's all kinds of different things going on there. Like, as far as like the fashion, like I said, like vintage is very popular, but like then you get into like these little like kind of like subcategories. So like you have like, it kind of reminds me of high school a little bit. It's like you have like the goths, and then you have like the kid core, which is like teddy bears and rainbows and all that kind of stuff. And then like cottage core, I don't know if you know what that is, like prairie dresses and like picnic type style. Like it's just very interesting. It just reminds me of like the high school cafeteria. Like every like table is different, but it's all like in this one platform. So that's probably the best way I would describe Depop. It's like high school in a way, which I guess would kind of make sense considering the age group that is on there typically, if that makes sense.
no, it does. It does. I tried Depop a little bit. I think I still have my Depop, but like you, I started at Poshmark. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm still selling Poshmark. I think I stopped doing Depop because I didn't have a large closet to sell. I feel like some people, not some people, but Depop is really great for people who have. I thought maybe a vintage style was more preferred on Depop, and I didn't have too much of that. But people I seen also people saw just a whole bunch of random clothes. Like
They do.
yeah,
Yeah, they do. That's kind of like the thing. I mean, you can you can kind of sell like any type of clothing on there. There's definitely things that sell better. Like, you know, like the vintage t-shirts, vintage denim, like I'm really big into denim. That sells very well for me. But yeah, I would say like, it is kind of true. Sometimes having more is what helps you sell more, for sure, because just people can, you know, scroll endlessly and, you know, probably find something they want, rather than like if you only have like 10 items, like people probably aren't going to keep coming back to your Depop. You know what I mean? So like that's definitely what helped me. When I started this out, I didn't really know what I was doing. It just kind of started as like a little side hustle thing. I really only started getting into it because I was selling things out of my personal closet, and I started doing that on Poshmark, and like everything sold like very fast, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like I have all this extra money, like I want to keep doing this. How do I keep doing this? And like I literally did like some research on it. I was like, how are people selling items on Poshmark? You know what I mean? So I was like, where are they getting like this endless like inventory? And it was kind of funny that I never put two and two together, because like I knew about reselling, I just didn't know people were using like things like Poshmark or Depop to do reselling. Because really those kind of platforms really just, I would, in my opinion, started out just as a way to like clear out your own personal closet. That's how, you know, a lot of these apps started. And now it's kind of definitely, I would say like resellers have definitely taken over on a lot of these like apps like Poshmark and Depop, and obviously we know, you know, eBay and stuff like that. There's Grailed now, which is like more I think like men's like hype beast type stuff and vintage. So yeah, there's so many out there. But Depop is pretty much what I stick with for now, at least.
Got you. Depop is I thought it was interesting. There's a lot more now. I guess I gotta look at it. Like maybe I should check out Grail. Maybe there's some stuff I want to buy.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I don't really check it out that much, just because like I typically sell like, I mean, I consider my clothes to be for anyone. Anybody who wants to wear them can wear them, man, woman, in between, like it doesn't matter. But I think Grail is definitely more like specifically menswear. So I don't really like go on there too much, but I know like they got their own thing popping off. So definitely check it out. You might find something you like.
I heard some stuff in the news. Like I just hear things very out the grapevine, and I heard like, yo, there's like Depop drama sometimes. Like there's like people reselling stuff from like AliExpress, like, and new stuff that they're getting for like $1, like up to like $10 or something, for like flipping it for like, I don't know, like 30 sometimes. Let's talk about.
So there is, there is drama. I mean, I feel like when you get into online anything, right, there's always drama that follows. So yes, there was kind of like a really big issue with the drop shipping, and really what the issue was stemming from was people saying that something was shipping from one place, but really it was shipping, you know, from China. And so basically what people were doing was they were just taking like the entire catalog on AliExpress, literally just taking the pictures, copying, you know, the measurements and everything, and making listings on Depop, and then selling them like for significantly more. Now, like when it comes to reselling, yes, like you are flipping things, right? You buy low, you sell high. But I think really the issue more was like people felt like Depop is for like, it's supposed to be a more sustainable option, which is why like vintage and just like, you know, thrifted items do very well in there. People kind of want like to find something that's more sustainable rather than just like buying something that's been mass produced, that's like poor quality. And so there were a lot of issues with that. I feel like they've toned down a little bit, like the issues aren't as bad as they were. But it's still around, and like I don't think it's ever really going to go away. Like people are always going to be buying things off of AliExpress. Now maybe they have to like buy them and have it sent to them and then send it out, but people were literally just taking people's money and then purchasing the item on AliExpress for them and just having it sent. You know, so they weren't really doing anything other than just being like a middleman, and I think a lot of people had an issue with that. And just like the lack of transparency, I think like that's really important. Like just be transparent about what you're doing. Like if you're gonna resell things from AliExpress, I mean, more power to you, do it, but like buy the item, get it sent to you, like do some quality control. Don't just like pass it off as like, oh, I have this item in my possession, but really like I don't, and I'm just plugging in your information onto like, you know, this Chinese website and having this item sent to you all the way from China, and it takes, you know, 2 months to get to you, but like I'm gonna tell you it doesn't. So like that's, I think, like the big issue and the drama with that. And then like there is like outside drama outside of like the drop shipping thing. There's a whole Instagram dedicated to Depop drama, literally called Depop drama, and it's mostly, in my opinion, just for like entertainment and pretty funny. It's just like screenshots of like people's DMs asking crazy questions or just like having ridiculous arguments about whether something got shipped or whether it didn't, and just really silly stuff. It's very entertaining, and I suggest like anybody who's not following it, if you're into like the reselling thing or into Depop, definitely give it, like definitely check it out. It's pretty entertaining.
I wonder who made that. That's like so
I
crazy.
know, it's like some anonymous person. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you, I'm sure you know what Reddit is, but it kind of reminds me of that. So it's just like, you know, some anonymous person has like made this Depop drama Instagram page, and people send in their submissions with screenshots, and I'm sure like some of it is kind of faked, you know, a little bit just for entertainment value, but I'm sure some of them are real because I've gotten some crazy messages myself.
You want to share some of those messages? Not sure, but just say like a couple things.
Yeah. I mean, like just silly stuff. Like sometimes people like to use like Depop as like their like personal Tinder. Like, you know, they see, because I personally, like I model all of my items and my face is in there. So like, you know, just sending ridiculous messages like, hey, can I get your Snapchat? And I'm just like, bye. Like, you know what I mean? Like just things that I'm not going to respond to. Some other things that like sometimes get a little bit creepy, like I don't check all of my notifications. I get thousands of notifications every day, but sometimes I'll see, you know, somebody might like an item of mine. Let's say I'm modeling a bathing suit, right? And I see, and I'm like looking, and I'm like, this is an interesting picture, and I'll click on that person's profile, and they've got nothing saved but just like women in bikinis or close-up shots of, you know, like a t-shirt with it just shows their chest, like, you know, just kind of using like Depop as their own personal spank bank, and it's just it's very disturbing. Usually Depop is good about like if you report them, they'll get rid of the profile, but they're, you know, that's online culture for you. There's always going to be someone out there like using something for what it's not supposed to be. So
Everybody's gonna find some other way. Get their, you know, get their thing going, you know.
oh yeah, totally. It's just, it is what it is. So I mean, you gotta figure out a way to protect yourself, and just know like that's gonna be out there, just like with anything when it comes to like online. It's kind of forever. So you have to decide like what your comfort level is with that.
So what's your next steps?
Oh, next steps, man. Okay, so for me, right now, what I've been doing is some pop-up shops locally. I'm trying to become a little bit more known, like in my own city. It's kind of interesting because vintage is not like a big thing where I'm from. I live in Anchorage, Alaska, and we're kind of like, you know, we're in our own little world over here. We're literally not connected to the rest of the United States, and like it kind of shows. Things like trends show up late here. Like they show up very late here. And so while vintage, you know, shops are on every corner, you know, in major cities, like there just isn't really anything like that out here. So I am kind of, I mean, there's very few. I won't say there's absolutely none. There's very, very few. And like, so I'm kind of trying to just put my feelers out there and see like, you know, how like my city is going to respond to these things. So I've been like doing some pop-up shops with some other local businesses. I'm getting to the point where I'm needing to like get and like rent an office because I've been doing this out of my house for 2 years, and I'm just like, you know, clothes are piling up and overflowing, and I've got lighting kits and racks full of clothes, and just like everything is everywhere. So that's kind of like my next move, is just taking it, another step up. I'm always trying to be more refined. I'm always trying to be better. And so that's what's on my mind heavy right now.
I know one person who's from Alaska, and he was like a youth pastor. And when he came to the city, it was very different. And I can picture that. I assume you're probably like starting like you're like opening up a new market over there, doing pop-ups, vintage stuff. Like I think that would be really good for you doing that in Alaska, because like honestly, I think that's really great moving forward. Like props to you for like being able to communicate and collab and network with people to do the pop-ups. Could you touch up on that? Like how you for people who are trying to do pop-ups or others?
Yeah, so it's actually, this is like kind of like another thing that I would say like came out of like COVID, is like, I think a lot of local businesses, it really makes me sad to see like small businesses like having to close because of COVID, like, like the closures and stuff. And so I feel like a lot of local businesses are just trying new things right now, and like trying to figure out a way to be like a little bit more innovative, or just like band together. And I felt like kind of like after like, or like that first wave of like the Black Lives Matter movement, like with George Floyd, I was getting a lot more exposure like on my Instagram page, and I was getting more exposure like locally. Someone had created a list of like Black businesses in Alaska. And the list was sadly quite short, but I was one of them on there. And so like I was getting a lot more followers that were local, and I felt like other businesses were seeing me. And some businesses I've already had like, somewhat of a relationship with, but I've kind of always been a little bit kind of quiet and just like doing my own online thing, just because like it's kind of scary for me to put myself out there in my own city, because it's like, these are people that I'm going to run into like on the street, or like when I'm out thrift, like just like it's a totally different thing. Like when I'm on the internet, it's like none of these people really like, they know me like how I present myself like on the internet, but like I'm never really going to like run into them in person. So it's just like kind of one of those things, like I was kind of protecting myself and like protecting my baby, which was my shop. So I had a business reach out to me and asked if I wanted to do a pop-up, and we did it, and it went really well. And now we're going to be like, I think we're going to be doing like a monthly thing out of it. Like, so that was a really great connection to make. I also did a pop-up at a local bar that me and my fiance actually met there. He used to work there. And so I did a pop-up there, and it went really well. And I feel like going on, like I have a better relationship with, a few businesses, and like, it's going to really help me out. And it's just like it's a good way for me to like, kind of, like I said, dip my toes in and just like get a little bit more exposure locally, because it is a lot to kind of like invest in like a brick and mortar, you know what I mean? And like actually like open up a store. I'm not like quite there yet, and just like everything with COVID, like it's still kind of scary, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit more confident and like figuring out like where I'm gonna take this. If that makes sense.
It does. Honestly, you're brave. That's very important to like think about, and I think that's very realistic. What's your advice for the future Black leaders of tomorrow?
Okay, my advice for the future Black leaders of tomorrow. I would say, number one, like you have to be confident in who you are, and really try to surround yourself with people who are going to be like truly supportive of you. I feel like being a Black person in America, like you're almost like sometimes it feels like you're representing all Black people. I know you know what I'm talking about. Like, and I know like all the Black people that are going to be listening to this like probably know what I'm talking about. It always kind of feels like you are the representative for all Black people. So like I try to keep that in mind, but like also just like stay true to yourself and like do what feels right to you. and keep like those good people around you. Like I have very supportive people in my life, and like it helps tremendously, because like being Black in America can be very like taxing on your like mental, especially like with things that are going on right now. So make sure to give back to yourself first, and like keep a good circle around you, and just keep going, man. Like you like keep the fire and the passion for whatever it is that you have, like keep that fire and passion burning, because without that, like it it everything else is going to die. Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to be able to do what it is that you're trying to do. You have to keep the passion, and you have to feel good about what you're doing.
Get into it. Get into it.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the first season of All Black. We will be uploading episodes every week. If you like the content, please like, please share. And if you want to take it a step further, check us out on Kickstarter. The audio will be streaming on all major podcast streaming stations, and the video will be on YouTube and IG. Thanks again for tuning in.